Namo Narayan, Devatma. Welcome.
Namo Narayan Atmalila. Thank you so much for having me back.
There are many, many benefits of Yoga Nidra, and there are a lot of clinical studies that have proven that as well. Can you tell me, Devatma, what have you experienced as the benefits?
Yeah, it's great that we live in a time where we have been able to list out so many benefits of not just Yoga Nidra, but yoga in general. There's been so many different studies, clinical studies in universities even that have been done. And, today we have so much to draw from. The research that I like the best actually comes from a professor in a Hindu Benares University in Varanasi, Dr. Udupai. He presents a model that has 4 stages. And this is a model of how disease progresses. And it starts off with psychological stress. That's the first level of disease. And from psychological stress, it turns into, if prolonged, if not remedied or resolved, then it prolongs, it becomes somatic and then organic. So it goes from being psychological stress to affecting your behavior, outwardly affecting your behavior as some kind of psychosomatic illness, such as insomnia. And then if prolonged still, then it starts to target certain organs in the body and starts to stress those systems in the body, which is usually it's hereditary. 2 people with the same stress in their life will react to it sometimes differently based on hereditary conditions. But it'll target different systems or organs of the body. And then if prolonged further, then those organs and systems in the body become overwhelmed and start to deteriorate, in which case we see the actual illness of which we have so many names for. Problem with our current, at least Western form of medicine, is we too often treat the symptom and not the source of the illness. So we wait until it gets to the organic level, and then we just give all sorts of medications to treat the organic level, but we're not addressing the root of the issue, which is in the psyche, in the mind. And as long as we are neglecting the root of the matter, then it's like you're weeding your garden, but you're just taking what's above the dirt. Always grow back. And so we desperately need some kind of relaxation method. It doesn't have to be Yoga Nidra, but Yoga Nidra is, I would say, the best. But we should have some kind of relaxation method that will go along with any kind of therapy program to be able to address the root of the issue in the psyche. And so I think that that's probably the greatest benefits of Yoga Nidra, is that it is the best preventative form of therapy. So that hopefully, if you do Yoga Nidra frequently, you'll never even know how much Yoga Nidra has helped you and how many illnesses or diseases or psychosomatic illnesses that it has saved you from, never even had to go through. And we desperately all need, not only insomniacs, we all need a reliable, regular way to vent, to ventilate that psycho-emotional steam, which otherwise creates havoc in our interpersonal relationships, in our private, professional lives, and to our health.
Yeah. As a sadhana, I integrate it in my life, same as I'm eating or taking a shower, that your body also gets used to that, because I think during the day we build up stress anyway by all kind of things from the outside world.
All of us.
All of us, yeah. What Yoga Nidra does, it gives you that nap, and when you can be aware in that state, I really feel refreshed. Yeah, when you integrate it in your life, it really gives you the benefits.
Yes, absolutely. We all need a way to be able to recharge in a reservoir of energy, of universal energy, right? Prana. And the mind deflects cosmic energy. We need to be able to have total mental silence, total absence of thought, in order for us to be able to recharge and to be able to get that cosmic restoration that we need. I believe that is the reason for deep sleep at night. We need to have that deep sleep where you're not even dreaming, because you're recharging from the universe. And what is facilitating that is the lack of presence of the mind, the absence of the mind. But we can even get more inner silence when we keep awareness present, such as during meditation, such as during Yoga Nidra, and you can get deeper rest, even more absence of mind, or you can just say mental silence, deeper in mental silence, and then you're able to recharge and receive that cosmic energy from the universe on an even greater quantity. And when you have more energy, you feel better naturally.
So our agenda and all the things that are happening, but when we are asleep, we can't control anything because we go to a different state. When they switch from that day state into that night state, you have to let go.
That's very true. One of the biggest hurdles for falling asleep is going from beta to alpha. One of the things that helps you to do that is actually creative thinking, visualizing, imagining. When we start to activate our imagination, then we go into alpha state. The brainwaves slow down. That's one reason that even just daydreaming or starting to create your own dream will help you to fall asleep. But Yoga Nidra does this when we get past body and breath and we start relaxing the mind. We take up the visualization sequence. And the visualization sequence can take many different forms. It could just be a list of objects to visualize. It could be a full-on story that you tell with characters and a plot and a theme and all this stuff. Or it could be just descriptions of chakras or descriptions of elements or all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And this part of Yoga Nidra, it helps you to be able to access that creative part of the mind. And that helps you to go from beta to alpha and helps you to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, Devatma, that Yoga Nidra is the best when it's practiced every day as a sadhana? And does the length of the Yoga Nidra matters?
It really depends on what the listener wants to use it for, and they should be very clear on exactly what they want to use it for, and that can change. For example, in the beginning, maybe you found Yoga Nidra because you needed a way of falling asleep, a reliable method of achieving deep rest every night. And so in that case, use Yoga Nidra every night. And I would suggest use the same video. When you find a video that works for you, that helps you fall asleep like that, use the same video again and again and again until you don't have insomnia anymore. And this does happen. This doesn't sound like a fantasy. It might sound like a fantasy, but it's not. This has happened for so many of my students and listeners have come back and reported that, it depends on how intense it was, but I've talked to students who had very intense insomnia, and it takes them about 2 months. 2 months of Yoga Nidra every night, and you can get the rest that you so desperately need. But then let's say you also found something else in Yoga Nidra during that time. It connects you to yourself. It makes you feel more of your own qualities, your own natural self-born qualities of joy and serenity and bliss. And all of a sudden you become more interested in maybe the spiritual or the yogic practice of Yoga Nidra. And you want to start to use it like a meditation. Then in that case, you should look at it as a process of cultivating awareness. And this awareness has to be cultivated slowly, gradually over time, with a realistic approach. So for example, start off with the shorter Yoga Nidras. Try to find Yoga Nidras under the 20-minute mark so that you can stay awake for the whole session and get through the whole session without any micro sleeping. And then a little bit longer one. Give yourself a session that's maybe 5 minutes longer, 25 minute, then 30 minute, then 35 minute. And in this way, you can start to increase more and more and more. There's Yoga Nidras on the Tripura Mandala channel that are 3 hours long. Yoga Nidra level 5, for example, is 3 hours long. We want to build up to that gradually. The idea is that you should be able to do a whole Yoga Nidra session without falling asleep, without moving. If you do move, just go right back into it, okay? Don't think that, oh, I ruined my session, now I have to start over from scratch. No. If you have to scratch or itch, that's fine. But just try to reduce this tendency over time. And then in this way, you could start to progress to longer and longer sessions of Yoga Nidra, which is giving you the chance to relax deeper and deeper, experience more profound levels of physical stillness and mental silence. And in that mental silence, while totally awake, you encounter your own true nature, those qualities of the soul that we've been talking about here. The bliss, the joy, the ecstasy, that is you, your own qualities like heat and light are natural qualities of fire. Bliss and joy are the natural qualities of you, of yourself, of your Atman. And so we just have to reduce all of the distractions of the ego mind and stay awake in that deepest relaxation to encounter your true nature.
Devatma, can you shortly tell why it's so important that you don't move during the Yoga Nidra?
During the course of one session, we are going into deeper and deeper layers of our being. Yoga teaches us that we are multidimensional beings, that we are not just this physical body, but we have two other bodies as well. We have a subtle body called a Sukshma Sharir, and we have a causal body called a Karan Sharir. And these also correspond to the three states of mind. When we talked about the Mandukya Upanishad, we learned about the waking state, the dreaming state, the deep sleep state. The waking state corresponds to the physical body, the dreaming state corresponds to the subtle body, and the deep sleep state corresponds to the causal body. So during the course of one session in Yoga Nidra, you are relaxing into these deeper and deeper levels of your being, going from the gross to the subtle, from the subtle to the causal, and from the causal to the transcendental, where we transcend the mind completely and just experience pure consciousness, just the self. And that in-between state is called Yoga Nidra. The goal of Yoga Nidra is that in-between state where you're awake, but the gross, subtle, and causal bodies are asleep. You're still awake. And so this helps us to be able to transcend illusion, transcend ignorance, transcend our false identifications rooted in the ego, which just regular sleep cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
In regular sleep, yeah, sure, the mind is completely dormant there as well. But we have to be awake for that experience to prove to yourself that you are more than your mind. You are more than your ego. We have to survive that ego death experience while awake to become founded, to become established in our truth, in that higher spiritual awareness that you are not your ego, you are not your mind. Yeah. You are the Atman.
Mm-hmm. When you are just totally physical silence, you also silence the other layers.
Yes, that's right. So these other layers of our being are all connected and interdependent on each other.
Yeah.
So just by relaxing the body, you are also relaxing the breath and relaxing the mind. Or by focusing on the breath, you're also relaxing the body and the mind. Or by focusing on the mind, you're also relaxing the body and the breath. So they have this mutual relationship with each other. And by deepening one, you're deepening the others. And that's why you can, if you want, you can just start with breath awareness. But we find that when we can approach this systematically, it works even better. So we start with the gross level first, which is the body. And by doing body scan, you are also relaxing the breath and the mind. But then we're going to do this cycle again. It's kind of like a spiral with different levels each time you go up. It's the same levels again, the same three components, but you're on a higher level now. So now we're on the level of the breath, the subtle level. Subtle is the sukshma. So we're relaxing the breath. And by relaxing the breath, you're taking the body even deeper into relaxation and the mind even deeper into relaxation. Then we're going to do it all again one more time, but focusing on the mind. And by doing visualizations during Yoga Nidra, you're relaxing the mind, which will also slow down the breath and also relax the body even more.
Thank you very much, Devatma. Yeah, and you give those great workshops, Devatma, to become a yoga teacher.
I'm improving the course every single time that I teach it. I add something more to it. So I feel it's such an honor for me to be able to pass on this knowledge and this understanding of how to teach Yoga Nidra.
Yeah, you can tell people so much about it, and students really can learn from you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for this interview. You also will give a Yoga Nidra.
Yes.
For sleep.
Yes, absolutely.